Hi, this is Kim from Emerging Creatively Tutorials, and this is ECT TV, episode 48. Since this episode of ECT TV is being released on day one of the Earrings Everyday Challenge, this is going to be somewhat of an introduction to the free version of Earrings Everyday Month. If you are interested in joining, I'll have a link below this video so you can join in, and if you're not interested in joining in, you're going to get a lot of good information about earrings, so keep watching. So, I wanted to tell you a little bit about Earrings Everyday Month. It is a daily challenge where you make a pair of earrings every single day, and it's okay if you get behind or you don't make a pair of earrings every day, but the idea is to try to bring a little bit of creativity into your life each day. There is a free version of this challenge where you'll get daily inspirational emails from me, encouraging you to make earrings every day and maybe giving you a few ideas, and occasionally you'll get tutorials as well. And then there's a paid version, which is Earrings e-course. With that, you get a tutorial every single day on how to make a pair of earrings. Sometimes they're PDF ebooks, sometimes they're videos, sometimes it's both, but every single day you'll get a tutorial. And you can still sign up for either one still today. Today's the last day to sign up for the free version. The paid version I'll leave open until Friday the 4th, and you can get signed up and get caught up if you're behind. You can find more information at the link I'll have below this video to find out about both of them. So with that in mind, I am going to give you an introduction to jewelry making, some of the supplies and materials and tools that you'll need to make any earrings. And of course some of these items will vary depending on the earrings that you are creating or designing, but this will be a basic introduction. And I'm also going to give you a tutorial on how to make a very simple pair of earrings, which I kind of think of as the most simplest form of earring that you can make. So let's get started. So we will start with the tools that you're going to use over and over again for making earrings, and in fact these are the three basic tools you'll need for wire wrapping any kind of jewelry. So they are wire cutters, round nose pliers, and chain nose pliers. And chain nose pliers are the pliers, they're kind of a curve here, but they're completely flat on the inside. Flat nose pliers are fine too. Round nose pliers are round, they have the round barrels, and wire cutters are what you cut wire with. And then if you're using jump rings in your design, then you're going to want bent nose pliers as well, or another pair of chain nose pliers. And then additionally, if you're going to be making your own earring wires, you're going to want to have a jewelry file, or really any kind of file, or a wire rounder tool, or a burr cup is what people call them, which you would just basically put the end of the wire in, and then you round out your wire, which is the same thing that you will do with your jewelry file. So you don't really need these unless you're going to be making your own earring wires. If you are making your own earring wires, you would be sanding and rounding out the end of the wire that goes into your ears. Okay, now for materials. So beads. You definitely do not need beads for all earrings, but you'll certainly want some for a lot of earrings. And if you've been making jewelry even for a little bit of time, you probably have all the beads you need for this challenge, but you might still want to pick up a couple of new strands. If you're new to jewelry making, you do not need to get a bunch of beads all at once. You might want to just make a purchase here and there, and you'll make some projects, you won't use your entire strand, and then eventually you have a whole bead collection. My favorite place to get beads is Happy Mango Beads, which is just happymangobeads.com. They have a lot of unique choices. I also love actually going to thrift stores and seeing what I can find to take apart, and you can also definitely check out your local bead store or craft stores that sell beads. The next material you'll be using a lot of is wire, especially if you're following my tutorials. If you're going to be making your own earring wires, you'll need 20 gauge half hard round wire in any metal. You just need to think about if you have metal allergies, something like that for earring wires, then you're going to need to use sterling silver or some sort of coating over earrings so they don't bother your ears if you have an allergy to metal. I use a lot of 20 gauge half hard round wire for basically most of my wire wrapping in general, and you can also use the same wire to make head pins if you want to make your own decorative head pins, which I have a lot of tutorials about on my blog and in these episodes. And I always say, if you're new to jewelry making, that don't run out and buy expensive sterling silver wire until you have some practice and you're a little more comfortable. You might want to try copper, brass, and there is artistic wire that you can get at craft stores. Typically, what you find on artistic wire, it's usually silver plated or coated copper, and often it doesn't state a hardness such as half hard, but usually it works about the same as half hard in my experience. So if you want to try that, that'd be fine, especially if you're just getting started, or I even like to use it the first time I'm trying a design, just because it's really frustrating to mess up expensive wire. Silver is pretty pricey these days. Alright, and then the next thing are the findings you'll need for your earrings. So the most obvious is earring wires. Since we're going to be making earrings every day, it makes sense to have a bunch of earring wires on hand. If you don't have these on hand, you can make them yourself with wire, and I'll link to a tutorial for making your own earring wires below. You can absolutely purchase them pre-made. These are pre-made. I use them as well. It is really easy to make your own earring wires, so you might want to give it a try. It's also nice to have the skill to make your own earring wires, because if you want to make a pair of earrings and you don't have any earring wire on hand, you can just grab your wire and make your own earring wires. Another finding that you'll use a lot of are head pins. You can purchase them already made. These are pre-made that I purchased. Head pins have the little flat head on the end so your bead doesn't fall off. But you can also make your own. I have lots of tutorials on how to make your own decorative head pins. This is an example of a spiral head pin. And I've done kind of like more ornate, open spiral, which is what this is, knotted head pins, infinity head pin. I have free tutorials on all of those. And you can make these ahead of time and have them on hand. These are great for when your bead has a larger bore hole. Sometimes these head pins are a little too small, the little head on the end. So if you have that, then this works great. Jump rings are something else that you may use when you're making your earrings, depending on the design. The earrings that we're using today do not use any jump rings, but you may find yourself needing them as you go through Earrings Everyday Month. So it's good to have them on hand. I typically use 4mm and 7mm the most, but if you already have jump rings, you can obviously use what you have on hand. Another great option to use for earrings are chandelier findings. So you can find a variety of these in jewelry supply stores, and they make really cute earrings. Some other fun things you might want to use in your earrings are charms. Just like regular charms you would use in any jewelry, you can use them for earrings too. Some buttons are always cute. And you could use other things that are upcycled from other materials. These are clock hands, and if you've followed me for some time, you'll see all kinds of different options, maybe hardware like washers and nuts and bolts and that sort of thing. Really, you can use just about anything that you would use in jewelry making to make earrings. The main thing you have to take into consideration, though, is the weight. They can't be too heavy. If you're making earrings for yourself, you know how heavy the earrings can be for you to still be comfortable. If you're making earrings for someone else, you're going to want to err on the side of being light. So just a little note about doing daily challenges, since Earrings Everyday Month is a everyday event, an everyday challenge. If you've ever participated in an everyday challenge, you probably have gotten to a certain point and given up. I know I've participated in those kind of challenges and I've done the same thing. I just want you to remember, a few pairs of earrings is better than no earrings, and you don't necessarily have to keep up. And if you quote unquote get behind, don't get upset by that. Just jump right back in at any point and start making more earrings. Maybe once a day is too much for you, but perhaps once a week would be good. Or maybe you just want to make a few pair a week. Or maybe you want to make 5 pair in one day and then none the rest of the week. Whatever works is fine, just make it work for you. So, I'm going to show you how to make a very simple pair of earrings now. So you'll have a very basic pair of earrings that you can go back to, and then you can really customize these earrings in many ways. This is kind of the most standard, general, simplest form of earring you can make, the dangle earrings, and then you'll have at least one pair of earrings that you're going to be able to return to again and again. So to start off, you're just going to slide a bead onto your head pin, and you just want to make sure that bead is not going to slide off the end of your head pin. And if it does, you can either use a small seed bead, or you can make your own head pin so that the head is larger on the end. Now I'm grabbing my round nose pliers, and on my round nose pliers there's a mark that I made with a Sharpie, and that's so that all of my loops will be the same throughout a project. So both of my earrings will be the same because I'm going to line up my wire on this mark. It doesn't really matter where the mark is on your pliers, just to make sure you use it the same each time. So mine's kind of in the middle though. So you're going to hold the wire in the middle of your chain or your round nose pliers, and you're going to line the wire up with that mark. And you just leave a tiny little bit of space between your pliers and the top of the bead. And now just bend the head pin toward you, and you're going to go around the barrel of that round nose plier and in between the bead and the pliers. And you're forming a loop. And now you'll see this loop is off center and we want it centered. So there's a couple ways you can do this. If you've watched my videos before, I've shown you the way I normally do it. I'll show you quickly how I do that. I usually just hold the loop in my chain nose pliers, and I go around with the loose end of the wire once, and as I do that I pull the loop up so that it is centered on top. Another way you can do this, and I'll show you quickly again, how to make a loop. So I'm holding it in my pliers, down and around, is you can just leave your round nose pliers in that loop, and then you're just going to take your wrist and roll it back. And get it centered. So I obviously prefer the other way. That's the way I usually do it. So now we have that loop centered on top here. I'm switching hands. This is my non-dominant hand, and I'm going to wrap with my dominant hand, which is my right hand. And you can either just use your hands and wrap, or you can use another pair of pliers. And we're going to go around at least a few times, but you can go around as many times as you like. Just try to keep both your earrings even, and just hold on tightly with your round nose pliers. And then you just trim off the excess wire with your wire cutters. And now you want to make sure that little end is not poking out. So I'm grabbing my chain nose pliers again, and I'm just going to go around with them and make sure that it's pushed in. Some people call it being tucked in. And I'm just making sure everything's straight. And then you just open up your earring wires, and you do that just like you would open a jump ring. So you don't want to pull out, you want to pull toward you. So I'm just holding in this hand, and I just pulled out with my chain nose pliers. And as you can see, it still looks like a loop, but it's open. Slide the bead on and close the earring wire. So that's one earring, and then you just repeat for the second earring. So those are the bead dangle earrings. They are the simplest pair of earrings you can make, basically. And now I wanted to show you a few examples that you can actually now make now that you have that skill. This is another pair of simple dangle earrings, and I wanted to show you these because I actually used a seed bead on the end, on each end, so that the bead would not slide off the end of the head pin like I mentioned before. And I think these are cute, like little pumpkins. And you can certainly use more than one bead on your head pin, so that's an example of that. In these earrings, I used 3 bead dangles and placed them in the earring wire. So there's 3, and there's different colors. And I have another example of that as well, with these green beads. And they each have 3 beads on each bead dangle as well. And now I want to show you a few of these earrings with different head pins. So these have an ornate head pin, and I actually have a free tutorial on how to make those head pins. It was an episode of ECT TV, and I will link to that. Then we have some square head pins. And this, I actually showed, I have a free tutorial on these, a video, one of my very first videos I ever made, and they're pretty fun depending on your earrings too. So they're just square, so these are very geometric. And of course I love spirals, so these are made with spiral head pins, and these are gemstone chip beads, and I have several of them lined up on this head pin. And that's the other great thing about making your own head pins too. You can make them as long as you want. When you purchase head pins, they're kind of the length that you purchase, so I usually get 2-inch head pins. So these are actually longer than that, and I was able to do that because I made them myself. And finally, I wanted to show you one last sample of a different head pin. These are knotted head pins, so it's kind of tiny to see on this video, but I have a technique to make your head pin look like a knot, and I have that as a free tutorial as well, so you can check that out. So I'm going to make a blog post for this episode of ECT TV, and it will have all the links, and you'll find a link to that post below this video when it's ready. So I hope that this episode of ECT TV has gotten you inspired for Earrings Every Day month. For those of you who are participating, I hope you're ready to make your first earrings and then continue every single day. And even if you're not participating, I hope this has been helpful for you for your earring making. If you want to sign up for Earrings Every Day month and you haven't already, come over to KimberlyKoehler.com. I'll have a link below, and you can sign up. There's the free version where you'll get daily inspirational emails and occasional tutorials. And then there's also Earrings e-course that goes right along with Earrings Every Day month, and with that you'll get daily tutorials either via PDF or video, and you get lifetime access to that. So even after the month's over, you'll have access to all the tutorials, and in fact I had this last year, I'm having again this year. Everybody who participated last year gets to participate again this year for free. So you'll find all that information over on my website at the link below. And remember, this is the last day you can sign up for Earrings Every Day Month, the free version, and you can get Earrings e-course up until Friday, the 4th of September. I would love to see what you're making. So if you are making these earrings, even if you're not doing Earrings Every Day Month, I'd love to see what you're making. If you post on Instagram, use the hashtag ECTTV. And if you'd like to put them on Facebook, you can come to my Facebook page at facebook.com/emergingcreativelytutorials. And if you're doing Earrings Every Day Month, the hashtag is EEMD. So use that hashtag, and then we can all see what you're making for Earrings Every Day Month. I will see you in a couple of weeks, and if you are participating in Earrings Every Day Month, I will see you every single day. Have a great week.